Good afternoon and welcome. Red Tonto 13 here. After 5 months of not producing an episode or streaming, I'm currently back here with an episode of Football Manager 2022. I'm on Xbox Game Pass and I'm delighted to be managing TNS. As I had most episodes and I was streaming, I wish I had started a stream earlier on at my TNS time, and I'm currently managing them and I'm in my 10th season. I'm only 150 odd days away from earning an achievement on Xbox achievements for 10 years at a club, which is one of the reasons I've mostly stayed at TNS. How I usually like to start my saves off on Foot Manager is start with a local club or a club from the same nation as me down at a lower level, and then try and progress onto a bigger club from there. But because I was in pursuit of an achievement of 10 years at one club at TNS, I've really enjoyed my time there. I've ended up staying here at this period of time and I've had an amazing time here. As you can see, I've won managed 560 games. I've won 455 of them, producing a win ratio of 81% with only 62 losses. I've scored almost 2,000 goals, only conceding 512, with a goal difference of 1,422. Within that time, I've won 17 cups, 9 league wins, and 9 league wins in a row. I'm hoping to produce a 10th league title and 10th in a row. If I could do this, this is the longest run of any manager that has won the league here domestically in Wales, and it's the longest run that TNS would have won a league title in a row. So here we are. I've spent 10.5 million in 10 years, averaging about £1 million a year. That's quite good for any club in terms of their management, and especially to win 10 league titles in a row and produce 17 cups. Domestically, you know, when you're dominating the league and you should be producing the best players within the nation, and you're representing the top club, you know, as if Celtic and Rangers were in Scotland, then you've got obviously your Premier League teams, TNS, your equivalent here over in Wales. But they're not on the same kind of category in terms of status or stature as, you know, the Premier League clubs or even Celtic and Rangers of that sense. And then a lot of the players, you know, you would expect to be playing for the Welsh national team struggle to break into their national teams. And one player, for example, who I've got in my squad, who's turned out to be a Football Manager legend for me for both Newport County and TNS, is Timmy Abraham, brother of Tammy. Now, Timmy has come in, he has played 161 league games, 173 goals. This season he started 26 games with 14 times off the bench, 39 goals, 11 assists, 7 man of the matches, an average rating of 8, and he has never been capped once by his country. He won an award last year for, you know, African Player Awards, and on that list boasts, you know, the likes of Hakimi. And for a player like Timmy Abraham to represent TNS and to win a National African Award and still not be representing his country with the record that he has, and if you look at the last few seasons, what an amazing few seasons he has had. He scored 70 goals last year overall, 79 the year before, 44 the year before that. So he's had consistency, he's improved year after year, he's absolutely smashed it, and yet he's still not being looked at by his country, which is a huge shame. But we're 20 points clear with a goal difference of 100, and we're currently in the Euro Cup first knockout round. We're hosting Ajax, and it's going to be a great game, a great turnout for the fans, you know, great for the locally. And I just hope we could, you know, beat Ajax and progress into the next round. The furthest I've been in Europe with TNS is the quarterfinals of this cup about 4 or 5 years ago, perhaps. And that was an amazing run, and we had some great results. We had quite a difficult table that we were in the Champions League as we qualified. We boasted Ajax and PSG in that sort of group, and it was quite tough. We ended up coming away with a result against AC Milan, stunning them as we first started off, and then we beat one of the other smaller clubs in that group, and then we drew against them as well, so we picked up some points. But we were annihilated both times by PSG, and then AC Milan changed their tactics, come out hitting, and then beat us on the second time around. So we didn't end up qualifying, we finished third. So now that's why we're in the Euro Cup, and this is why we're in the first knockout round. It'd be great to beat Ajax, of course, but we're going to go from here and see what happens. Let's loan list him. He's unhappy, but he's 20 years of age. He's played 77 league games in 3 years that he's been out on loan. He's played 26 games this year, 27 games starting 26, 7 goals, 2 assists, an average rating of 7.01 overall in all the games that he's played, and he's unhappy with his loan. While you could end up coming back, you wouldn't break into our first team, you'd end up playing for the under-19s. So realistically, you should be happy with the loan that you're having at this moment in time. In a way, I've sort of fallen in love with TNS and how I feel towards them. You know, they've given me a lot of an affection over the time here. I've had some great players, especially with the original players that we started off with. He's unhappy with the amount of games that he's playing. Well, to be honest, you've just taken over as first team keeper. You're now starting, you've had 4 games in a row in the league. You need to give it some more time and then come back to me. So we'll have that discussion at the end of the season before you start complaining. But yeah, I've fallen in love with TNS, and we have qualified for Europe year after year. And we're starting to bring in a lot of money. Our value has gone up. You know, we boast a budget of 41 million in our finances, a transfer budget of 12 million. And how many other clubs in Wales in this top league are boasting even a budget of 100k? And even if they were to get to £1 million, for us to have £12 million available just shows that the other clubs aren't competing. And whilst we play well and we dominate the league and we qualify for Europe every year, by bringing in that money, that's massive for us as a club. We're starting to attract more fans. The season ticket holders are going up. We're making more money in revenue. We're attracting better players. We're playing better football. You know, we're providing European football for the local fans. The club value's going up. And there's no way any other team can even get near us because of the money we have available. Now, I could have gone out and just spent £12 million and, you know, gone out and bought a few players who would absolutely help us dominate the league, help us in Europe. But, you know, I don't really need to. We do quite well in Europe. We sort of get some young players in. We build them up. They turn into, you know, first team regulars such as Godsmack Ford, Rayner, Rooney this year, Bird. You know, Brooke has been here for a long time and is a club legend, and I don't know what I would have done without him. But you lose your player in and around that. We've just lost our first team goalkeeper, Thomas McGill. He has been an amazing first team goalkeeper, has beaten records, set records, has kept many clean sheets, kept us in games, been consistent. He was only on something like 4.5k a week. When we first signed him, that was a lot of money out of our wage budget. But as we went along, that was really nothing in terms of what we were playing. And he had an opportunity to go to Spain this year. I think he signed for Granada. We sold him for 1.4 million. We signed him for 185k, which was a lot of money when we first signed him for us. And you know, we had to sort of make that investment, but the return on him in terms of the amount of games that he played, the clean sheets, the records that he broke, and the money that we made on him, you know, 4 or 5 years later with the huge profit, ended up being a great investment for us. But in terms of that, when you have these players that leave, it's, you know, you have to bring in the young players then and start, you know, recruiting identified players which could be cheap, that could fit into the squad, and then excelling the great players which become valuable assets from there. But you build them into your squad, and then they become your first team regulars as players get older and they become better than the players you already have. And then you just repeat that process of getting the young players in, and then you don't really need to invest that much in the side unless, you know, you're getting youngsters in, or, you know, you really want to, you know, go out and, you know, hit big with, you know, some big names or players that are really gonna benefit you. But yeah, that's how I've sort of worked it. I've invested in, you know, young players of the future. You know, I've not gone out hitting as such by spending £12 million or any, you know, the masses of my transfer budget year after year. I could completely dominate, but it's down to our recruitment and how we get these young players in, and, you know, really harness them and develop the players that we have here at TNS, and that's the way we're going. So yeah, it's worked out quite well in terms of the model that I've, you know, instilled here at TNS and within this save. But I'm really enjoying it. We've developed, you know, great players such as Lachlan Brook, who's become a club legend, and what a player he is. Tom Allen, who's 31 now, been a, you know, a complete great player, but is on the back end of his time here at TNS. Shaden Morris, again, another great player. Gosmack Ford, who's developed really well. We had a young player, Zane Monlouis from Swansea. We had him on loan, and then we decided to buy him. Turned into a great player, but we've got players better than him now, so he's currently out on loan at Kilmarnock, which is quite good of a move for him, especially to get back into you know, playing. Okay, so that was a 0-0 draw against Ajax. We will take that at home. That's quite a strong result, especially when you look at the stats were all in our favour. We kept a clean sheet. You know, gives us scope to try and move forward and try and progress past Ajax, but it's going to be a very tough away game. In that case, we had both the Wales and Australia managers in attendance. So we had a total of 4 players being looked at from us, which is great representation. Lachlan Brook, 30 years of age, capped at under 23 level, wanted by Al Wassel. He's played 176 league games, 66 goals. This season he's played 37 games, started 34, 27 goals, 26 assists, an average rating of 8.2. He has absolutely smashed it. He's been consistent for years. He's never dropped below an average rating of 7 at any season. He's hit great highs of 8 and now 8.55. You know, he should be capped by Australia. You know, he should have had a few more by now. You know, we got Callum Bird, 22 years of age, 321 caps. We bought him from Newport County for 325k. He's worth up to £900,000. He is in such great form for a full season this year. He's starting to play more games than when he came in last year. So it'd be great for Wales to cap him and give another young player that experience. We got Gareth Palmer. We've just taken him on loan from Swansea City. They've extended his contract by 2 years. He did have an opportunity to leave to go to another club, but Swansea preferred him to come to us and have accepted our loan bid, which is great because he's on fantastic form so far. His value's obviously shot up and is going to continue shooting up. I hope we can try and get him back on loan. But by the looks of it, Swansea, he's done quite well there. Hasn't performed as well in the Championship this year as he did in League One. So whether Swansea are appraising him and will bring him back into the first team fold, whether they will try to capitalise and sell him on his value or loan him out again next year, will be interesting. But he's off to a great start, and I can't wait to see his progress towards the end of the season and how he does. Adam Rees, 17 under 21 caps, 7 under 21 goals. He was originally at TNS. I bought him for £725,000 after he was doing really well at Crewe. And he had come through their youth system. We agreed as part of that deal he would go back out on loan. Smashed it for the remainder of that season. He then came into us, and what a season he was having before Blackburn came in at 600k. I lost some money. I think I was a bit hasty there in terms of accepting a bid too quickly, and especially for a player who was in great form. That money should have technically doubled. He didn't do so well out at Blackburn at that time. And we ended up buying him back last season, and he hit such great form. We bought him back for twice as much as we sold him. So far, we're out of pocket by 1.3 mil, around about that estimation. But he has been an amazing signing on return this year, and it's been quite difficult to rotate him and Timmy Abraham because they're both such great players, but they can both play in other positions. It just depends what you want from either player, whether you want goals or you want them assisting, because they're both so great when they're doing so. Okay, we play Cefn Druids in the Welsh Cup quarterfinals, where we will host them and hopefully get to another final in terms of our journey once we beat Cefn Druids in the quarterfinals, and then we're away to Ajax. Okay, just going to send my assistant there, which is Emerson Boyce, one of my 2 assistants. I've got quite a good application of staff with me, and again, that's why the other clubs in Wales can't even compete, because they don't even have the budget to even, you know, employ the amount of staff that we have, or the quality. Emerson Boyce is one of my 2 assistant managers. Been at the club for 7 years now, I believe. Carl Darlington, currently the head of coach education in Wales in real life. I brought him back. He's now been with the club 9 years. He's been a coach at TNS in the past. He was an assistant manager on 2 other occasions and a manager. I believe he actually won the league when he was a manager at TNS, and I think he might have broke a record or 2, but did quite well. But I brought him back when originally we had very little budget, and even though his stats aren't the greatest, which they should be, in terms of other stats which aren't really showed here, I won't get rid of him because he's had such great loyalty and he's been with me for so long. My head of youth development, Chris Gunter, he has amazing stats, especially for a club like us. He's been with us since 2023 when he first retired. I decided to sack Claudio Pizarro, maybe, who was my head of youth development. I had a head of youth development, Carl Sargent, who was assistant manager / head of youth. I wanted him to sign a new contract only as assistant manager. He said no, so I decided to let him go when his contract expired. I then went with Claudio Pizarro, who was just useless, and then I decided to bring in a Welsh legend, Chris Gunter, as head of youth development, and he has excelled and progressed amazingly in that time. I would like him to become a first team coach or have a secondary role as a first team coach, but he's not interested, which is such a shame. Lee Kendall, who I actually know in real life, and has actually helped me achieve my UEFA B license. So having him on the coaching staff was a little bit surreal, and great to get him in. Ademola Bankole, he has been such a great goalkeeping coach that we pinched from QPR under 18s. He's been with the club for 7 years. He's still with his still with a national team, coaching, and has been with them for 13 years. And it's great that we have 2 goalkeeping coaches, so when he's away, Lee Kendall's taking lead on that. Robbie Fowler, again, because of his managerial experience and some good stats, and because of the money that he was willing to accept, and the kind of coaches that we needed back when we were in that year of 2024 was on a good budget. Nathan Jones, again, quite good stats for what we needed. Managerial experience, doesn't cost a lot. Also Welsh. Tom Ramazut, again, he's also got good stats. He's been an assistant manager at Cardiff, under 23s coach. Lots of experience from him. Great loyalty still. Also Welsh. Paul Anderson, Rob Edwards, Sam Hutchinson. When he retired, I brought him in straight as a coach, and his stats again are excellent in terms of mental fitness, defending, determination, motivation. People management, again, great loyalty off him. He has had a couple of opportunities to leave, but he's decided to turn them down and stay with us. Mark Bonner, Richard Thomas, James Rowbury, who's actually Newport County manager. I've got a lot of time for him. His stats, are not bad. Also Welsh. Who else have we got? We've got Chief Scout Vincent. He's got amazing judging player ability and potential. He's been with the club since 2027. He spent 5 years out of a job in between the time of his last club and us, and then was promoted to our Chief Scout. But we got Tony Mowbray. He retired, quite good knowledge. Great to get him on the staff. Mick McCarthy, who has been with us for years. 6 years he's been with us, 72. I don't want him to retire. I feel like bringing him in even as a scout, if that was me in real life, I would still be leaning on him, Mowbray and Kenny Jackett for some insights just into their experiences, just from their management time, especially when I first started out. And it's great to get these sort of guys in. Sam Johnston, who's just retired, we decided to take him on. Again, he needs to improve, but he's only 37. He joins our scouting staff. Declan McManus, he doesn't have the greatest of stats here at all. His coaching's even as average, but he was with me since 2021, and wow, what a player he was. He had a bit of a lull in that season, 2023-24, but that's because we had other strikers in at that time, and he sort of got edged out. But wow, what a player he was. Absolute legend, broke a record, became the club's all-time league top goal scorer. Has just been beaten recently by Timmy Abraham. But in his last season, he wasn't playing so much, so I decided to release him and give him the opportunity to find another club. 2 years ago, at the age of 34, he could have gone to any other club and scored goals for fun, and it's such a shame he ended up retiring. But because of my commitment to him and the relationship that I feel that we had and everything that he'd done, I wanted to bring him back in and give him just a role on the staff. Now, Matt Jarvis, his stats don't look amazing. When we first started out, I needed someone to take the job. I recognised his name. He didn't want that much money. He's still been with the club 11 years on. He's become a great in terms of our coaching staff, and his wages still aren't high. He hasn't left, but as a coach, he's been fantastic. Welsh FA Cup youth winners 2 years in a row. League champion, league champion, league champion, youth cup winners. League champion, youth cup winners, league champion, league champion. What a coach he has been. He has been fantastic for the under-19s and youth setup. He's brought success. He's developed young players, and especially with those turnover of young players, when they become too old, they get the opportunity to leave. Some break into the first team or release players because they're not good enough. He has been consistent, and he has done an amazing job following on what the first team do and play, and he has absolutely smashed it. For me, I want to try and get him into the first team, but I don't want to take him away from his responsibilities as under-19 coach because of what he's been doing and his loyalty. And even though I tried to negotiate his contract, you can't seem to promote him into the first team and keep him as under-19s manager because he's in a coaching role, and vice versa, because I would have liked to have had a secondary role where he's involved in the first team. His assistant manager, Rob Green, I just recognised the name at the time. I needed someone in. He was cheap. I really like Rob Green in real life, so I've decided to bring him in. We've got Joe Ledley, Dale Tung, who both been good assets for the under-19s. Ryan Brobble, he was originally part of the players when I first started out. Spent 8 years at the club. Obviously we had better players who came in over that time. We decided to let him go to Hartlepool, and then he went out to Northern Ireland and had 2 amazing seasons there, and finished on a real high note, but could have played maybe for another season or 2 after that, which would have been great for him and to excel his career. But he decided to retire, and he was available. Um, and I decided to bring him into the coaching staff, start off with a great under-19s team. And he is now studying for his Continental A, and we're supporting him on his own journey and development. But that's what I commitment to, my staff, as much as they've given commitment to me, commitment to former players. When you first start, there's a goalkeeper, Paul Harrison. He's just retired in real life. He's actually just rejoined the coaching staff, or joined the coaching staff of TNS in real life. But when I let him go, because I found a better goalkeeper, and I thought, do you know what, I want to let him go because there's opportunity for him to still enjoy his career rather than just sitting on the bench, becoming a backup and warm up for the seat. He ended up moving along, doing quite well, retired. I brought him back then as under-19s assistant manager before Rob Green, and showed him that loyalty. And then he left for first team manager at Newport County, which was amazing progression for him, and great for us to be recognised in the English League too. And then, from there, he went on to manage Bristol Rovers. Didn't do most amazingly. But he's a manager now, and that's the loyalty I show to former players, bringing them back in, trying to develop them. I've got an eyes on a few of the other former players just to see what they're doing. Okay, so cup game, so I'm going to start Timmy Abraham over Adam Rees, just to give Adam Rees that bit of a breather. It's coming towards the end of the season now. It'd be great if we could overcome Ajax and progress further. It'd be great to try and get into the semis and then into another cup final. Again, it'd be great to win the 10th league title. Now, as I said, I wish I had captured these 10 years to show the journey and the growth of the club, and where we've certainly come from. And it's been one of the most enjoyable saves I've ever done and had. And it's again one of those which I wish was captured, but I didn't bother with it. And then I wish I had. But the whole scope was to sort of move on and to progress, which is what I usually tend to do, as I said. But I've loved every minute here, and I don't really want to leave. But the goal is to sort of leave after 10 years, especially as I've had job offers from Wolves, Southampton, Swansea, an opportunity to manage in the Premier League, which anyone managing in the Welsh League can say at TNS, and having the great success that we have and jumping straight into the Premier League and almost trebling their wages would do it in real life. But part of this was because I've loved it so much. And I've been chasing that achievement of 10 years at one club, is the whole reason that I've stayed with TNS, and that I've loved it here, and I don't really want to leave. But the whole point of starting an episode, which I was really excited about on the fort last night, I was playing till about 1 in the morning. I was like, I really want to do a stream tomorrow, and I want to share this episode, get it out on YouTube again, and especially on the back end of the time at TNS here. It makes me feel as if I want to stay with TNS for a couple more years, just to have a few more episodes with them, and to really show that enjoyment of time and what we've achieved and what we can continue achieving. But it has firmly been brilliant, and I've enjoyed it here. But yeah, the 10 years, I want to manage more games. I want to, try and win, other cups and titles, and try and get teams into the Premier League maybe, or try and jump up to a team bigger, and play in Europe, and then try and get to another team bigger. Or I could jump straight into the Premier League, hopefully, do really well, like Graham Potter, for example. And then, if Potter does well at Brighton, see whether the national team job comes up, or see whether I could jump up to, Spurs, who are, bigger than Brighton and have a bigger transfer budget, bigger stadium. And then try and, get, the Chelsea job, because I support Chelsea, or Man City, for example, one of the big jobs, and try and win a European Cup or Premier League, and then continue on that journey of becoming the greatest Welsh manager that there's ever been. And then after a long time, hopefully returning to manage at TNS, at the back end of my career, returning, a legend's welcome, a hero's return, and finishing off my career, and I feel that this could become a great series and journey. I've really enjoyed this year's Football Manager. I didn't enjoy last year's so much, but I'm really enjoying this year's much more. There has been times where this save has been a little bit boring. It's become a little bit complacent, and that's because I've spent so long at one club and we're just winning. In that sense, I love winning and I want to win as much as possible. I want the best record. I want to make TNS the most historic club in Welsh history. I want to make them the biggest club in Wales. I want them to be recognised on a national status, as Chelsea, Arsenal, City, United are all recognised in the Premier League and are top dogs, and Celtic and Rangers are. Over in Scotland, I want TNS to be, the flag holder for Wales, and to be up there and in Europe. And certainly to keep developing these players. Like I got Gosmark, Ford, I got Rayner, Dorset, Lewis, who are all such great players who I want to maintain that commitment to. But when you've got Gosmark Ford, who's only 25, he's enjoyed great success since he's come in, and he can continue to enjoy that success. But when you have players like McManus, who had like 8 years under me, they won, many titles, many cups, etc. If Godmark Ford only gets, 4 or 5 years, he's going to be thinking, well, he had 8, and I wish the manager stayed, because it's like United. When Fergie left, the players who were there didn't enjoy that much success, and the players now haven't enjoyed that much success as to when he was there, When you look at, players like Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, who spent, so much of their career there and how much success they had, and then you go and look at a player like Scott McTominay, who, if he had come through during the Ferguson era, and would have had that commitment, would have had that much success, whereas, he's there now when Fergie's not there and he's had other managers, his success compared to Scholes and Giggs isn't there as much, because Fergie isn't there and no successful times aren't there. And it's the same for Gosmark Ford. When and if I leave and the club maybe don't have that much success or don't do as well as they once had, then it's unfortunate for him, because he's like, well, I had those great years and other players had longer and they won more, and I wish the manager didn't leave and all that. And it's great, and I love winning. I want to develop these players, but when you go back to it, you need to remember and realise that football isn't an emotional game. It is just business at times. And if I was looking at this from a real life perspective and I was in this situation, then of course I'd go to the Premier League and try and earn 3 times the amount of money that I'm earning, and give myself a bit more security in life depending on the contract and money earned, etc. And try to progress and become a better manager and manage more games and try to win other cups, because I've won everything I can possibly can with TNS domestically. It's going to be really difficult to try and win a European Cup, and if we do, that's going to take real big commitment, because I'm going to have to stay at least another 10 years, try and double the money up to 80 million, try and get a bigger transfer budget, invest in the squad. At that time I'll be towards my 50s, which I can do, and it'd be amazing to win that European Cup, wanted by Everton, and just show domestically what I can do for TNS and become their greatest ever manager. But when there's look at nationality, and the other managers such as John Toshak, who went abroad, managed Real Madrid, had great success over a period of his career during the times of when he did manage. I need to get out there and win those cups, which have the more ranking points, and become the best Welsh manager there ever was. But yeah, it's really interesting to see where we can go. Do I want to stay here? Yes, I do. Do I want to leave? Also, yes, I do. I think it's time for a new challenge, and that's why I wanted to share with everyone, and see where we're going to go, and see what how I manage, how we identify players. Whether I can get better coaches in, what players can stay, what coaches can stay with me and have that loyalty. But I really don't want to leave Timmy Abraham. But sometimes when you move to a bigger club and you sign these players from, obviously down in the lower leagues, sometimes they, they don't hit that great form. They're not playing as well, and then they end up wasting their career away. And you're like, well, I could have left them there, and they could have continued to enjoy such great times and played well and stayed fit and scored goals and had that fun and success. I didn't update my title. Foot Manager 22 with. Okay, there we go. Just updating that. It says with Newport County, Bristol, the New Saints now. Everton interview unsuccessful. Well, I did sit the interview, just to see whether they would offer me the job and what sort of money and contract could I be getting. But they've gone with Dejan Stankovic. He's left West Ham. They're 9th in the Premier League, so they got their job advert out. West Ham managerial position, finances are okay. Wage bills 2.5 million per week. Training facilities are excellent. It would be a great club to go to and take over, and it's very interesting. But he has left West Ham for Everton, and Everton are sat 17th in the league. Bit of a backwards move in that sense, but I suppose he's thinking, well, I can turn the club around, I can do well, I can try and get them up the leagues. One thing that is definitely frustrating with the sense of the fact that I'm managing the biggest club in Wales, I'm managing domestically, I've come through the Welsh system, in the sense I've developed great young Welsh players, I've dominated the league, I've won cups. No other managers enjoyed success in Wales the way that I have. I've broken records, I've set records, I've done it on minimal budget, I've got great coaches behind me. The fact that the Wales manager had left his job for another job in between that time in Wales, went and appointed someone else without even offering me an interview, is highly frustrating, and it just shows where the Welsh game and Welsh league needs to really develop, to give those coaches and managers that opportunity, and for our clubs to become more recognised or as recognised as other clubs. And it's a long system to go. There's a lot to develop. A big investment and infrastructure is coming. I feel that what we're doing here in Wales is certainly very productive, very positive. It's more of a 10-year plan. There's lots of scope to move forward and lots of infrastructure that's changing, policy, procedure, investment. The strategy's changing, the way they're developing players, the academy system, the grassroots. So there's a lot in Wales that is massively changing at the moment. But it just shows, if you're managing a top club and you're managing the biggest club in Wales, and realistically you should have that interview for the Wales national job, because that's the whole point of having the Welsh education system and having the leagues and coaches coming through. And if you're at the top of the game and you're dominating, then realistically you should have been offered that interview. But the national side aren't even looking at coaches from this level, let alone managers. And they've gone for other managers from abroad, and other managers which have enjoyed success, but it is just a massive shame for domestic coaches and managers. Okay, we find ourselves 1-0 down at half time. Jack Grealish with the assist. We're still in this game though. Okay, it's a bit of a dead game from us. There's not really that much urgency. Not a lot of, you know, opportunities or lots going on. Even if we do go out, it'll be, you know, a shame. But you know, the fact that we held Ajax to a nil at home, and then we only lost 1-0 on aggregate. And you know, when you look at the value of players that they have in their squad compared to the value of ours, we've done very, very well, and we can be very pleased. Even though we're going out, we can be very pleased with the efforts and performance that we showed, and the representation of ourselves as players, as a club. Oh, come on, allow it. VAR, allow. Yes, get in. 87th minute, we've made it 1-1. Oh, they brought Serge Gnabry off. This game's now intensifying. We have conceded on the 88th minute. Great response and intensity from Ajax there. But the fact that we scored against Ajax, we almost put them on the back ropes. We almost made them worry. We were so close into going into extra time and maybe doing something about it. But we can be pleased. We can be pleased with our performances. They have such a good squad. They have so much depth. The value of their players, you know, 7.2 to 9 million. That is more than our squad put together. A player here 70 to 85 million. You know, it's not the most valuable of squads, but it is much more valuable than ours. And when you look at the experience of a player like Jack Grealish, who has so much quality about him, and it is in such fine form for Ajax, and then you have the players like Serge Gnabry again. It's such a good player, Serge Gnabry. His stats are showing otherwise, especially at the age of 35. But you know, they have quite a youthful squad. You know, if we look at Sander Terha, you know, 265 league games, 47 league goals just for Ajax. Yes, he's played in the B system, but he's obviously developed and come through that B system, which absolutely serves its purpose. You know, 24 years of age, he's Dutch, he's come into the first team, he's played 152 league games, 21 league goals, 320 league games of experience by this age. He has an opportunity to try and break it. He's playing European football, opportunity to break into the national team. So the B system absolutely works, and that's, for me, that's where England massively needs to go. As much as we got an under-23s level, I think by having or changing that entirely to he's got good stats, changing or, you know, getting that entirely to a B system, I think is going to be really beneficial long term, just like they do out in Spain. And I feel, you know, we have such a great, you know, structure in England. I say we, I'm from Wales, but I really love, you know, the English setup and what the FA have done, and how many players are coming through the system, how many players are representing the first team, that their system has absolutely been amazing. We've won the league. We have won the league. Look at that pure dominance there from TNS. Look at that dominance. if you look at it from 2010, only Connors Quay have won it twice and have broken that record and ducked. For the last 4 years, Carnarvon have been the runner-up and Barlett have been third place. For the last 6, only Barlett and Carnarvon have finished in second and third. What consistency from those squads and managers? What consistency, and it's such a shame for them in reality that if you took the money away, or the squad of TNS, or put them in the English League, that they would be winning that and it may be a bit more competitive for them. That's what I mean. The system needs to improve in Wales and there needs to be that much more investment. But we have won the league with, many games remaining in the hand. I can never actually remember. I think it's 31. Let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 33, sorry. 33 league games. We've won it with 8 games in hand. 20 points clear of Carnarvon with a game in hand. We have absolutely smashed it. Just once again, we have absolutely smashed it. This is one of the reasons I don't want to leave, because we have such a good squad. Times are really good here. We're starting to look at players with a transfer value of £5 to £6 million. The only stumbling block is that wage at times. We could, adjust the budgets. But long term, it is on its way there. Timmy Abraham, Player of the Month. Gareth Palmer. Tammy has won so many personal awards since coming here. Just endless lists of awards because he has been such a good player. Originally, I wanted him when he was at Fulham in 2022-23. There was an opportunity to loan him, and he rejected the loans because obviously he was playing for a Premier League and then a Championship club. He was earning, great money. He obviously felt that he could play at a higher level. He then went out to Nigeria, played, not bad, but not great. I was persistent. I wanted him. There was money there. I decided to place that money and investment into Timmy as it was there, and he finally realised that coming to Wales and playing for TNS was going to be a great move for him, and really helped turn and escalate his career. He's wanted to leave a few times over the years where there's been opportunities to go abroad and obviously try and earn more money, live in better weather. He's won everything here. But I've still got him. I have a great relationship with him. He's become an absolute club legend. I got so much time for him. He was a Newport County legend for me on my last save. He's now a TNS legend. I just really hope that he gets the same opportunities in real life. I think he's been trialling at Walsall recently. And I really hope that they take the punt on him. And really give him that opportunity, because I think that he could be a great player. He just needs to be given that time, that training, that nurture. If you look at his stats in real life, he's never really been given that run or opportunity, and I think he could be such a great player. Okay, we're away to the Druids, 5th in the league. Okay, here we go. what a legend, assisted by Adam Rees. These two just play so well alongside each other. They're always assisting, they're setting each other up for goals. There is that rotation in those positions that they play, just to try and get them their goal scoring opportunities as that central striker. But another goal there for Timmy, another league goal. He has broke the record by McManus earlier on in the season, and now it's all on him to continue setting it, continue to increase it, and be the first ever player to reach 200 league goals for TNS, and really set that standard and that record, which would be amazing for him. I would just like to say, whilst we're in the middle of this episode and series for Red Tonto 13 on YouTube and Twitch, is sponsored by the Reflective Coach podcast. You can listen to the Reflective Coach podcast on Spotify, on Anchor and YouTube. You can find it on Twitter and LinkedIn as well. The Reflective Coach podcast is a fantastic podcast talking about life experiences, insights and experiences from a grassroots coach who's coached in the professional game at an academy level with players on contracts, and has been on a great journey and continues to establish that journey, with many guest speakers featuring as part of that podcast from former and current professional players and athletes. They include and consist of Justin Hoyt, formerly of Arsenal, FA Sodge, an international player, Darren Pratley, formerly of Swansea City, Nathan Thompson of Peterborough, who's playing at championship level under Sir Alex Ferguson's son, Darren Ferguson. Charlotte Potts has featured of Sunderland Ladies, Paige Culver, who has played out in France, Sweden, and has played in USA and Canada, has also featured. Jordan Reynolds, who has been sponsored and signed to the roster of MTK Global, the boxing brand, has also been a part of the podcast. There has been some great names: Jordan Cousins of Wigan Athletic, and the list will continue to extend with some great episodes up and coming. But that is the Reflective Coach podcast, and you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn and Twitter. Lewis, the young goalkeeper, 25 years of age, he has shown such loyalty and commitment to the club. He became behind Thomas McGill, and now he finally has the opportunity to become the first team goalkeeper and to enjoy a good few years here at the club, and certainly become the first team goalkeeper. Obviously, if I leave, he'll be thinking, well, why did I have that opportunity as Thomas McGill did, to be the first team keeper and to develop and to win as much as he did? But he has certainly got the opportunity now, and you know, it's all down to him to maintain that number one spot. Under 19s, top of the league, 3 points of the clear, 7 games left to go, I believe. We do develop some great young players in the under-19s, but every time you get a coach summary and potential ability, it's always might not have the potential, might fire off the first team, etc. But they're greater in the 19 level, which is great for us. Connor Burdett, we have just signed him for 40k from Motherwell, made his debut off the bench, not bad start for him. Okay, our next game is away to 3rd place Bala. It'd be great if we could beat Bala just to increase the amount of points that we're ahead of them. Let's just quickly look at what jobs are out there. Oh, the Fiorentina and Lazio jobs have become available. Spurs is insecure. Atletico Bilbao is insecure. I had a save with Atletico Bilbao. I went from Newport County to Swansea and then to Atletico Bilbao, and what an enjoyable save that was. So difficult because of their boss transfer policy and developing young players. But I really enjoyed it, and we actually went on to beat Barcelona and Real Madrid as well as Atletico Madrid and win the league, which was fantastic. Brentford is very insecure and they're very rich. Possibility that they could end up going back down. Okay, we're just going to follow Brentford. They are also rich, so that could mean a potential job there of going to the Championship and taking Brentford back up to the Premier League, which would be great to, experience the Championship and to show that I can get a team promoted and hopefully win the league, and then get into the Premier League. 54 games won in a row between 2029 and 2031 is a new league record. Well, I don't think anyone is going to beat that record, and it's all down to us to keep building and extending it. Okay, over 100 odd days. Let's request to add more, see what they say. Okay, they've agreed. We've got Craig Lawler in. Okay, we want the better former chief scout at Preston for 9 years, so has a lot of experience behind him. But we're expanding our coaching range and our scouts. Okay, 3 more scouts can join. Well, we just obviously accepted 1, now we're up to 11. Let's go to staff search. Let's edit the search. Okay, we're on scout already. Okay. Okay, Vladimir Weiss. Loads of experience behind him. He's currently a director of football. Wants 2.8k. We can get him for 2.4. He's agreed. We can get him in. Lots of experience, good stats as well. Was a manager, would prefer to be a director of football, but to get him in as a scout would be a great signing. Steve Clark, now I know he's down the list, but he is a former manager, loads of experience, good stats. I wish he was coaching still. I have such an amount of time for Steve because of the respect I have for him. Come on, be a coach. Okay, just wants to be a scout, but he said just wants to be a scout, but willing to take that big increase in money. I would like to get him in. Okay, then we'll see how many we're left with. So if it was 11, it gone up 14, now 12, 13, 14. Okay, another 2 former managers who have managed players, have had coaching teams behind them, have identified players, played in shapes, managed in the league, etc. We could get in as part of our scouting team. We're 3 days away from the Bala game. Okay, Steve Clark, in he comes. Great to have him as part of the coaching staff, scouting staff. I have so much time for Steve in real life. I actually have one of his quotes written up on the board in front of me, which says perfect practice makes perfect, and that is something that I look at and try to reflect on as much as possible. But he's been retired since 2028. He's been at Derby Middlesbrough as well as a scout, 67 years of age, but I have so much time for him. Okay, ooh, interesting. I feel like we can make an inquiry, but his wages could be too high. But he could be a great asset for us. Very loyal to, obviously, Ajax, come through the youth system into the first team now, playing European football. Could stay domestically near his family, try to become more recognised by his national team, try and play international football. Cameron Haig there, again scoring. Former player that I did release, was amazing at under 19s, is on fantastic record for Carnarvon, could develop over the next few years. But you know, league record isn't great, but if he develops and is around great players, could possibly return and be a great player for us. So eyes are on him and monitoring him. Okay, they've said 2.2 million. I'm going to accept that and see whether he will even talk to us. Nope, exactly what I thought, but Ajax were willing to sell him, so they're willing to do business with us, Ajax. So let's just go back to the inbox a minute. Let's go to Ajax. Let's go to their B team. Let's highlight them all and try to get full scouting knowledge on all of them, and let's hit all of their under 18s as well. Okay, they got a player here, Lewandowski. Now obviously he's attracted me just because of the name, but he is 16. He's already played 21 league games. This is why we need a better system such as a B League, because these young players could be recognised and have that more experience. And he's already featured part of the first team at 16. We got Nathan Smith. Wow, 60 league games and he's 18 years of age. Experience, he's Australian, capped at under 23. Plays in the midfield centre. Could he be the long-term replacement for his fellow nationalman, Lachlan Brook, who we do have? We will see. Okay, just going to give it a quick save there just in case, and it's a great way to sort of, you know, have that little save there, which we need. Okay, here we go against Bala Town. Bit of a dim game at the minute, 0-0. Quite even though. Lewis is unhappy because he wants more game time, but he is the first choice pick at the minute and he is getting maximum minutes. Okay, that goal was ruled out, which is such a shame. Let's hope they don't respond. But again, as I said, it's all down to Lewis to try and remain our #1 goalkeeper and to try and develop as much as possible. Very lucky to have two excellent first team goalkeeping coaches. Okay, Bala are doing quite well. We're quite even on shots and shots on target between us. Oh, offside. Right ball though. We're starting to worry Bala Town here a little bit. We're starting to break lines and get players in behind. Oh yes, finally Reese has scored his 32nd goal of the season. We do have Timmy Abraham on the bench. It just shows that we've got a great player in Adam Reese starting, and we've got a big gun like Timmy Abraham who is available to come off the bench and hopefully score some goals. But we're 1-0 up here at half time against Bala Town. Dan Scar playing at centre back there for Bala. Oh, it's off the post. Dan Scar was a former player here, added much experience. We're starting to get a little bit older. There's going to be more rotation and backup for us, but it got to a point where he wasn't even coming off the bench or even getting minutes. So I decided to pay him off and let him go and to try and find those opportunities. Yes, we've scored another disallowed goal. But yeah, he ended up signing 6 months with Bala. Really impressed them from his experience and played well. Then signed a 1-year contract with them and is still there. And it's great to see former players still playing and getting those minutes, especially when they're like 36 years of age. And I hope that he continues to play well. I think he'll be a great coach, and he's definitely someone to keep eyes on. Oh yes, we're running away with it now. We made it 2-0 through Adam Reese. Godsmack Ford, a great player, come from Leicester City. Reese again, another assist by Palmer. I would absolutely love to try and keep Palmer here next year, and even if I'm not here in charge next year, even for the next manager who comes in, to have Palmer would be a very lucky man. Okay, these two just swapping with each other. I was hoping to swap and get someone else on. Let's get Timmy on, just get some more minutes under his belt. Let's rotate Godsmack Ford out because he is on a yellow, and let's get Rayner off because he's on a yellow, and eliminate those potential risks. Oh, Charlie Catton has got through and he's scored. He's taken one back. No clean sheet for Lewis today. Royal Dorset at centre back was one of our most solid performers, one of our best players. Has sort of dropped down the ranks now as more backup and rotation. Another goal for Aaron Lewis there. 4-1 up, penalty. He was a player who was one of our most... Another penalty. Okay. Aaron Lewis again has scored 19 goals for a defender in the league this year. Originally, when he first came in, he was one of our most untouchable players, starting week in, week out. Had so much experience behind him. When he first came in, he was on something like $3,000 a week, which was a lot for us when we first got him. Now he's on $1,000 a week. He's dropped down the pecking order, but he does add some depth to the squad in being able to rotate right back, left back, coming off the bench, starting games. He has that experience. He can score goals. He does get assists. And he's finally decided that there's no clubs after him. There's no other opportunities presenting themselves. So it's great for him to remain here at the club. And certainly try to play, get off the bench, try and get minutes to stay fit, to try and score. He scored 5 goals in 228 league games for Newport County in 7 years. In 4 years for us, he's played 90 league games and scored 54 league goals. What a player he has been for us, and we signed him on a free. Newport County actually let him go, but he's had fantastic few seasons here. He's only played 16 league games this year, but the fact that they let him go on a free. Now we're away to Carmarthen Town in 6 days' time. What are we? We're 21 points clear, if I got that. Yeah, 21 points clear. They've only got 25 goal difference, and we have a goal difference of 106. Let's look at the expanded league table. They've scored 60, which is quite good, mind. And Bala has scored 64, and they've both conceded 35 and 38. So they're quite close and even, and there's a 9-point difference between them. So if you took TNS out, it would literally be between Carmarthen and Bala every year. with Connors Quaid just behind. Um, but they can't even touch us. Look, we've got double the amount of goals. We've got, 20 less conceded than them. Our goal difference is almost 5 times the amount. We're, 23 points clear of second place. If we beat them, we're 26 points, where we were awarded crown champions with 8 games in hand. Okay, so I'm just going to have a short break there. We're really enjoying this. We're doing really well. I'm absolutely loving it, but I'm going to be back in a short period. I hope you're enjoying it so far. So thank you for now. Okay, and I am back after that just short little break period there. Darkstar Go, thank you very much for the new follow. Really appreciated. Thank you very much. It's always great to have new followers. I really hope that you're enjoying the stream and look forward to any future streams and episodes that will be up and coming. Really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm also on Twitter, RedTonto13. I don't tend to use it as much as I could or should. But if you want to drop me a follow on there as well, that'd be much appreciated. I'm hoping to start getting back up to sharing on there as well. Vinicius Jr., 30 years of age, 84 caps, 42 goals for Brazil. Plays for PSG, 156 league games, 52 league goals. Current value at 30 years of age, 84 million to 125 million pound. Let's have a quick look at Haaland. 30 years of age, 94 caps, 58 goals. I would have expected a lot more caps by then and a lot more goals. 137 million to 164 million value, 207 league games, 166 league goals, 394 league games, 305 league goals. Matt Quinos, 36 years of age, still at the club. What a legend of the club he is, still worth up to 4.4 million, 148 caps for Brazil. Loving life he is. Donnarumma, he is joining Real Madrid. At the age of 32, Real Madrid wouldn't usually look at players like that, but age of 32, the opportunity's come to go to Spain and is joining Real Madrid. What a move for him. Hopefully he can enjoy 4, 5, 6 years out there. Wesley Fofana. Yeah, he's done quite well. Can be happy moving from Leicester to PSG. Frankie de Jong, 33 years of age, only 31 national caps, but he has played 258 league games with 463 league games in total. Hakimi, 32 years of age, 126 caps, 258 league games, 386 in total. Theo Hernandez, I really like this boy. Fatty, wanted by Juventus, 28 years of age, 110 caps, 53 goals. He has played for Barcelona and PSG. If he moves to Juventus, what another great move that would be for him in his career. I can't remember who Mbappe is at. I think Mbappe went to Real Madrid. Yes, that's right. Absolutely killed it. 147 caps, 94 goals, 307 league games, 178 league goals, 480 in total, 305. You know, I would have expected him to have maybe scored some more league goals for Real Madrid over that time, but he's still got an amazing record with them. Yes, we're doing quite well. We're coming up to this game. In the Euro Cup now. No, sorry, we're not coming up to that game, but Ajax have lost. We're coming up to Carnarvon Town away. Okay, McGill, he has played 8 games, conceded 10 at Granada, but he is on 20k a week, so we can be very happy with that move, and he is living out in Spain. A 2-0 win for Connors Quay there. Always like to scout what players are doing in the league, even though we can get better players from maybe England and abroad. Unlucky, our 19s were knocked out in the second round. They lost 5-1 to Valencia, which is, you know, a big shame. But when you look at the kind of teams that are winning it, to get to the second round is an amazing experience, which they can be very happy with. Now, he's 16 years of age, he's Swiss, he has 421 caps. He's obviously playing for the under-19s for Valencia, whereas he could be playing B football. But 16 years of age on £7 a week. That's more than one of our best first team players. Now, the Nigeria manager does not like me, or, ooh, okay, maybe he has changed. Oh yes, he has changed. There's been a managerial change there. Ruben Bello. Let's just quickly go to managers. I'm sure there's been a change. Yes, Adewale had resigned after only 195 days, and he had only lost 3 and 12 of 69% win ratio. Now they've employed another, oh, Benny McCarthy. I love Benny McCarthy. Now they have employed another regen with terrible stats, but I seem to have a better relationship with him because the last manager did not like me. But the last manager kept saying he didn't see the same player as me and Tammy Abraham, and Ruben Bello says he will not discuss election policy in public. Well, I really hope that Tammy Abraham does get at least 1 cap before he retires, because he thoroughly deserves it. Thoroughly deserves it. Okay, here we go against Carnarvon Town, second place. We're 23 points clear. We've already won the league. Can we go 26 points clear of second place? Lewis, our goalkeeper, will be fighting for that #1 shirt and first team goalkeeping spot. He just needs to stop being unhappy and moaning and just work hard as possible for that first team place. Okay, they've made a sub. They've got Haig off. He's got a bit of an injury, and here's one of their better performers. That was a bad pass then. Okay, Lewis playing out from the back, feet into Reese. Reese got closed out well by the central defender, who has done really well. Okay, corner, which was great after some great defending there, led to a corner. We have scored from it. Christopoulos, or Paulus, or Poulos, or Polos, scoring there. We did sign him from Tottenham, hadn't played a single game, hadn't been out on loan, so he was relishing the go when we brought him in halfway through last year. He's now into a first full season for us, and a first proper full season of playing in a first team and getting games. Oh, Reese, this boy, it's been disallowed. But what another great pass off Palmer in a sense. Reese just timed it, touch, control, turned, and scored. Okay, we're 1-0 up at half time. I really wish that goal did stand for Reese, because what a goal that would have been. Now, Reese could end up staying with us long term and becoming our all-time goal scorer, beating Timmy Abraham, because Timmy Abraham could end up into his 30s and then losing form or going, and Reece could do so well. We have another 2 young strikers. We took a striker regen, Evan Jones, off Barry Town. He had done amazingly for Barry Town, hasn't hit quite good form yet for us, hasn't scored a single league goal yet, but behind him we do have, he's only 18 years of age, but behind him we have another young striker, Ruben Priest. He's only 16 and we took him from Newtown. He was at the end of his contract. Quite a few clubs did come in for him, and we could have just let him grow and then bought him out at another time and could have had more games, but we decided to take that punt and then buy him, and certainly get him in, and he has scored a couple of goals. Just needs a few more minutes and hoping to get a few more next year. What a goal from Harvey Godsmack Ford. Thank you very much. Great goal. To change there for Carnarvon on their second change. Great ball in behind. Well done, Lewis. Not a great strike from the Carnarvon player. Reece, what a goal. Lovely strike. Could have had a hat-trick by now. But what a ball from Adams. Okay, let's make a change there. Let's get Evan Jones on. Again, it's quite difficult because Evan Jones can only play there, Ryan Priest can only play there. They're both great young boys. Let's get Priest on actually instead. Let's swap Rooney for Godsmack Ford. Let's get Rooney off for Lewis. Let's get Aidan Nicholas on for Palmer. Oh, we've conceded 8 conceding. Lewis Twamley with a goal there, former Newport County player. I did actually have him on loan at one point, but didn't hit great form as much as I would have expected him to. He became a consistent player on my Newport County save. Hasn't done as well here, but 26 points to our name. We have Connors Quay in 7 days' time. Okay, hat-trick there for Hill at Airbus. Okay, so we're at a good point here. We have another few games to go, and then we will decide whether we stay at TNS and wait for a job offer or actively apply, or whether we resign and then look at job offers for us. But it's going to be an interesting next episode, an interesting next save. Thank you very much for your time. Follow me on socials, Twitter, YouTube. This is sponsored by the Reflective Coach podcast. This is Red Tonto 13. Again, thank you for your time. It's been a really great episode and great stream. It's great to have been back after 5 months, and I'm really looking forward to try and get some more out there over the next few weeks. But thank you very much from me, Red Tonto 13.